This is 2 years I've been at Mangaroa Farms, and I have a few advantages, and one of them is purse strings that are a little bit bigger than many farmers have available to them. So I've gone hard and gone fast. So definitely taken on adaptive grazing and added to that different species. It was just beef, so now it's sheep and beef. We do longer rotations. I've added free choice minerals, which are based on pasture tissue analysis to see what's missing in the diet. I've done a lot of aeration, and after aeration I add biological brews plus trace minerals, and also a bit of liming of those soils. Quite a bit of deferred grazing, and I'm a passionate deferred grazer. And I think there's so much to be gained, and I'll share some of the results in a second. We've added a market garden into the business, and also comes with that farm open days and sort of a growing number of farm visits. The farm's been turned into a trust, so it's now called the Biome Trust, so it's got a focus on education and regenerative agriculture. We've developed or fenced off a number of SNAs, planted 17,000 trees last year. I think we're up to about 35,000 so far this winter. So go hard or go home. We've fenced off, I think, probably 10 kilometres of conventional fencing, and I don't know, I think we've run wires to Wellington and back from Upper Hutt with fixing up the existing fences to enable sheep. Also bought another farm in amongst all of that. So both these farms are really neglected, so a lot of work to do there. Measuring, we measure soil, plant and biology, do tests on all of that. We use bricks, do a lot of VSAs, so things like worm counts, rooting depth. I like to think we turn our problems into opportunities, and last year was a really good one. Pretty much across the country there was a lot of piranha and grass grub infestations, and I just took that as an opportunity to broadcast a lot of seed and get more diversity, because there's nothing like creating a seed bed with an insect. They do a bloody good job. We've put in a 3-kilometre walkway, community walkway, so people have access to the farm now. A big gravity water system to have us on a reticulated system that doesn't require power. Pest control, bit of diverse pasture. That's our actions. Results. So our rooting depth has increased, worm counts have increased, and water infiltration. So we can get some pretty big rains. You know, you might get sort of 4 to 8 inches in one go, and when I first got to the farm we'd have all sorts of ponding, and we don't have that anymore. We've fenced off, we've got a bit of peatland, so we've fenced off those drains. Instead of cleaning them out, we're leaving them to really meander and planting up around them so that we can really slow the water down and have some influence on things in that respect. Animal health is pretty good. We pretty much have got rid of things like foot rot, parasites are negligible. We don't wean our lambs until late February, and we don't drench our lambs at all until weaning or after weaning, and we'll do that based on fecals and condition. This year I bred the hoggets, so we had a 95% conception rate in the hoggets, which is pretty damn good, and they've scanned at 162%. They all went to the ram at, I think, 43 kgs. Our growth rates this year weren't as good as last year. Last year our growth rates on our lambs were 430 grams, between 430 grams and 330 grams a day, and they were averaging going into pastures that were 3,000 kgs a dry matter. So, you know, good dairy farm feed and that kind of lamb growth, which is pretty not to be expected, and you're told you can't do that. We've got a lot of community engagement. And part of that's through the market garden and having some open days, but a lot of it is people just seeing a lot of activity and being curious, and we have barbecues and really inviting the community in, so that's pretty cool. I've developed the beginning of a really strong team, and it just so happens they're all young men, which is lovely to have around, but what I'm noticing is I've got a strong sense of will to initiate ideas and change. Their personal agency is really what is tickling my fancy at the moment. They're just cool young men. On the deferred pastures, the things I've noticed is, along with increased infiltration, increased rooting depth, way better recovery rates, and then total dry matter production after doing that. But some of those areas, the fungal bacteria ratio was like 0.5 to 1. One lot of deferred grazing and you immediately move it to a 1-to-1 ratio. So just seeing some of those measures change really quickly. I think, what would I measure? Infiltration is a big one. I think water infiltration, because it's also an indicator of how well air is flowing in the system. Your worm count is a pretty easy one to do. Your bricks and animal health. And I think your cost of inputs, cost of production, this can also be a great indicator. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. Great stuff.